If I wanted to plug and play someone else into that role, I'd put Oscar there. It just sort of fits with the players that they picked up. They even have a strong secondary AWPer as well in the form of Nuke if they want to have some sort of aggressive plays on towards the B site. And then you still have the like old faithful of like Issa who's just going to get you frags. So I definitely would put this towards that Hellraiser side. At the same time, Aristocracy, they have this man. Taz, who can anchor a site normally pretty well. The pistol round's a little bit tougher to do it, especially when you're on your own. And while his teammates are all rotating around, normally you send more players over onto the B sites. There's clearly something that they've planned. Although, I don't know if you noticed, did Taz have a kit?
I'm just going to say yes, because they have the other two players flanking him from behind, currently behind him in Monster. Mao's going to be pushing up towards short as well. Oscar be the one to defend against this, but he's not. What the hell just happened? Diha able to hit quite a few frags here. Now it's on Nuke by himself. Almost able to clean up the last two there as well, but that's going to be Aristocracy picking up the defuse. And I can tell you there was not a kit there. I can confirm it.
Thank you, Captain Hindsight.
Usually people call me Captain Kaplan, but I'll take that for once. Wait, no one calls me Captain Kaplan, never mind.
They will now.
No, please, not again. Not again. There's too many Kaplans in the world of esports.
Wow. At least you're probably quite happy with how well your game Overwatch is doing.
Yeah, you know, it's always great to post a picture on Mother's Day of two famous English serial killers. That was that was great.
Let's not go there. Well,
but you know, Pepe memes are banned, so makes sense. Anyways, back
A-okay.
Only the cameras were on us. Anyways, Rollins going to push up middle here with a nice little flash from Minis. Does get the first elimination here onto Angel, as well as the nade coming through onto Oscar. And that's going to look like a relatively clean round here for Aristocracy. And that's pretty much what you expect when Hellraisers don't really have too many pistols or utility to fight with. And there we go. Nice little 2-0 quick start.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you want when you're on that CT side. Like, make sure that if you do invest into the rifles and not the SMGs, that you're not losing any of them. You don't have any players going down. Minis actually going to hand it off. Just be like, yeah, just take that. Just take that away from me. I'm taking the rifle. Actually switched back again. Indecisive, but maybe going a little bit more aggressive here.
So it looks like Hellraiser is going to go for a quick little push over towards the B site, and actually some early short control. They're able to sneak Angel through it as he does eat a nade, but looks like Mouse is able to take down Issa. I thought that was actually smoked off toward, yeah, it is smoked off towards Monster, so he actually got a nice little clean shot through. Spray and pray proving true here. But look how forward Aristocracy's holding as well towards the A site. You can see Diha pushed up, Rollin was there as well. They got Minis pushed up in towards the connector position.
Yeah, the problem is at the moment is there's not a whole lot of angles that Hellraisers actually have in their favor at the moment. The only thing for Minis at the moment is just going to be this pushback, yeah. And the second he was spotted, that was kind of the moment when he was screwed. Law was able to trade things back. That's a free frag for the T side that I wasn't expecting them to get. And now they actually sit not in an advantageous position, but at least in a much better one than they were in their 5v4.
Well, the thing is that death should technically have not have happened, considering like his baby toe was spotted out as he was retreating away at like the perfect timing moment coming through. You still have Diha over towards the A site. You can see the push trying to come in towards B though. 30 seconds left. The smokes are running thin, and all right, Angel. All right.
They say a little bit of luck goes a long way. Mao's bit of an off angle thrown in from him. Did Nuke really not see him? But actually gets the chance anyway. So I don't know if Mao's was just waiting on the timing. Now Rallen going to be the only one left to try and defend this side. The rotation coming back in from Diha as well, but he is way too late to the party. Makes it into heaven while his teammates have already fallen into hell.
Jeez. God. It's a little harsh there, Tom.
Oh, they're up against the Hellraisers. Angel's the one putting them down. Like, everything falls into place, Jason.
I like this little spray through the smoke too. Able to catch up on an early frag. And yeah, I mean, he's like, he barely got spotted as he was retreating back away. So if he like moved, I'm talking like 0.01 seconds quicker, he would not have been seen. And he would have been able to transition back to connector a little bit quicker. And obviously with his life in hand. That's not what you want to see though, Aristocracy. I mean, they had a strong start on Vertigo. They looked fantastic in the beginning. They had a strong start so far here at Overpass. But now, with losing that first gun round here, I think you can see a little bit of worry in their eyes. I do want to say this, by the way. Taz is one hell of a guy. Went out to take a break really quickly after that last match, and he was walking by, and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? He still remembers me from, like, Katowice in 14. It's great. Really nice guy.
Yeah, still, it looks like there was some frustration on the faces there. I think Muniz is definitely someone who can let the pressure get to him. He's a very talented individual, but sometimes you can just see it within his gameplay that when things aren't going his way, he can fall off. Now, in this round at least, we're already seeing the sort of worrying signs. This is what we see quite often, actually, when you are the CT side winning the first 2 rounds. That third round normally has some missing pieces, and then if you buy back into the 4th round, it's going to be either the same or worse. Issa, very well placed, a very risky play trying to fight through Monster, and while they're going to be absolutely punished for it.
It seems very reminiscent of what we saw in Vertigo for them. To hold a site, they're looking to get aggressive. It worked out a couple of rounds on the last map, but I'm not sure it's going to work out too well for them here as we move into Overpass. Again, Angel takes down Taz with the man advantage. Looks like Hellraisers will be able to take their second round here and tie things up at 2 apiece. But when Angel, like, you're comparing, you know, Angel in-game calling and typically in-game leaders have, like, the worst KDs. He's off to a strong start, especially when he's been entry fragging. There we go. Entry fragging in towards the B site.
Yeah, I will say that when it comes to a lot of in-game leaders, you do see that fall off, but Angel has always been someone who's been able to put up numbers. Like, maybe not every single match, but you can have him top frag a game, and it's not really as surprising as, say, someone like Pronax. Like, if Pronax top fragged the game, Fnatic had lost. Like, that was pretty much the way that it worked. It just, he was the mastermind, he was not the fragger. So yeah, it's one of those scenarios where he definitely can put up numbers. I think it's very helpful for the team. 2-2. Rallen does manage to at least save the gun, but not going to be too much else there. Oh, cameraman's had a bit to drink.
Probably because a little bit sad that Liverpool lost.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Leicester has a football club?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they won the league not
did
that
they?
long ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I was about to say something bad about him. Anyways, Rallen's going to push up here. And not being given an opportunity, though I think he did see Oscar cross, if I'm not mistaken. The problem is, it's just pretty much him with a weapon. Even got a Zeus for Diha. And I don't think he's going to have an opportunity to use it here, as he's just lurking by himself. But this seems to be the style of Hellraisers. I mean, you look at Vertigo, he was very puggy, kind of spreading out across the map. Here, I mean, considering it's you know, a slower paced map you can play it as, they're kind of playing a similar style, allowing Issa, who was already on fire from the last map, to kind of do his own thing towards B and look for any aggressive play, which we did see out of Aristocracy in the round before.
The only gun currently over onto that A site. I believe it was spotted as well. So looking for those openers, and it's going to get it as well. Oscar steals one away. Taz just waiting around the corner, but a fairly simplistic cleanup here. Rallen probably just going to want to try and hold on to this rifle once again. A chance for utility. Actually not that high for Aristocracy going into the next round, so somebody at least having the maximum amount of nades, especially on this map in particular. I feel like when you go sort of towards Monster, if there's no incendiaries down, it can be very easy for the T's to take control. Same onto short with your smokes, and I think the biggest thing is retakes. Like, if you're trying to retake either of the site without grenades, I just wouldn't bother. Like, you're basically hoping for someone to pull off some sort of ridiculous pick or get a few multi-kills or something along the way, because you really need them for those retake scenarios.
You know, I feel like you mentioned before, Muniz, he just looked a little bit frustrated when we saw him on camera. I think there's a lot of pressure on him and his team, because I feel like them qualifying to the finals would mean the world to them. I mean, currently being Orgless,
Yeah.
Taz, you know, creating this project, trying to bring in a lot of these younger Polish players, trying to take them to the top of the Polish scene and, of course, the world. He said he's not happy with being, like, top 30 in the world. He wants to be top 10. He wants to bring out Polish CS yet again. And to qualify into Pro League with all the work they've been doing, they had a 6-day boot camp before this as well. I think would mean the world to them. And I think you're seeing it reflected in the emotions we're seeing out of a lot of the players whenever we do get those camera shots.
Well, I think for him it's to get back to the top. For everybody else, it's to get there.
Yeah.
Like everybody else within that team has either been the second best Polish team, which was always quite a big drop off.
Yep.
So yeah, it's that achievement, and we've seen like AGO have some moments, Kingwin in the past the same, but there's never really been a team after Virtus Pro or to even rival Virtus Pro, at least in their heyday. So yeah, wanting someone to step up, and also they're an orgless team at the moment, so it would definitely go a long way to sort of convincing someone to pick them up or to help push forward just their brand in general if they were going to build their own.
And it's kind of a shame for them too, because a lot of these countries, Danish CS, Swedish CS, you can
UK
German CS. I was getting there. You can imagine like all these teams have all these regions and these countries have these like really high standing teams or close to it. And there's very few countries that don't, and I think Poland kind of is one of them at the moment, unless Aristocracy can really shine here in this tournament. UK CS as well, obviously, is a region that just has a tough time in general. I'm not even trying to talk bad about them, but in general they do. But I know, I feel like Taz not only carries like the pride of himself, but the pride of Poland on his shoulders when it comes to playing for, especially an all-Polish team. Here we go, they'll push coming in towards B, and look at this, they've lined up for the mouse, they're just gonna spray them down. It's a mouse trap, and Aristocracy will take the round, which was such a slow-paced play out of HELLRAISERS, but they get it nonetheless.
Yeah, late use of utility coming in from the CT side, and, well, just a perfect spray down coming out from Mouse. That wasn't like it was coming up against some sort of eco, some pistols pushing towards him. This was just flawless. It was up against players who all had a buy. He had help from his teammate just being a little bit of a distraction. And yeah, Aristocracy, that's the best way possible to bounce back. They get a decent amount of money added into their pockets. They don't lose any players either. Now the T side are the ones looking to try and bounce back here. Interesting to see Ralen actually the one taking the middle peak. May have just been off the basis of spawn, as Meniz is now going to be handed the AWP back in return. Now he did actually, I believe, warp a little bit back in the day when he was on his team with FULLMATCH. I think that was actually Kingwin, but it's started to be punished over the last few rounds for taking the fight in Monster. He was winning it initially, but now the CTs have started to step back up.
And we talked about Brolin, for instance, on Fnatic, 16 years old, really starting to come into his own in CS with Fnatic. Diha, I think as well, maybe not coming to his own as much just yet because they haven't had as great performances as a team, but he's definitely on the rise. And that's what's so great at the moment with all these teams being willing to pick up these youngsters. I mean, thinking back, 3-4 years ago, like teams only wanted to play with people they knew. They only wanted to play with the people they knew from 1.6 or 1.5 or just the old guard. But finally, teams have started to open up into incorporating these new young talents, trying to mold them and shape them for the future. And Diha so far on this map's been able to do relatively well as on top of things. Yeah. Here we go, the push coming in towards B. Diha again, speaking of the devil. Well, not Devil's one anymore at least. And that will be Aristocracy taking their 4th round. 2 in a row here.
Yeah, it's actually interesting as well that it's not just them. Like Virtus Pro as well, I think, I don't know if it's pronounced Veggie, but they've got an 18-year-old guy who's actually joined VP, which, considering how that team used to work with just keeping the same players for eternity, the fact that they're now even like venturing into the young talent is so important, especially for the Polish scene in general, just because that was, I think with like old Polish teams at least, that was the unreachable goal. Was joining Virtus Pro.
Right.
Like, it was impossible. You were never going to replace any of those players, and it was for the case for many of the players on this team. It's like playing with Taz is probably a pretty big deal for them because that was the team you always wanted to be in, but no one ever made it for years.
I mean, there was like what, InShock, I believe, was like an all-Polish team for a while as well. There's a couple of other Polish teams that never really made it big, never really made it like out of tier 2, if not tier 3.
Even recently, there was like you've got AGO, you got Kingwin, you got these guys here.
It was actually it was nice at the same time though to see such a long-standing roster stay together.
Sure.
I mean, it was a shame they never really reached the peaks of 2014 Virtus Pro again, but it was comforting to just see like the commitment they had to each other. But anyways, guess some more of the emotions aside, back to the raw fragging powers we just saw. Minis, Yen opening up on Tanuki. Goes for early peek and backs away now, too.
Wow. If he starts to gain in confidence, I could definitely see them turning this map around. He is 5-2 at least at the moment. He's going to be looking to at least play off the support he has from Moralen. Has the chance to repeat. Both players actually connecting the shot, but neither able to get the kill. In the meantime, Dia has again won that battle versus Issa. Push going to be coming in onto Maniz, but they don't know that Ralen's here. He's just lurking in the backlines. He's probably the only way they're actually able to turn this round back around as he'll peek out, find one. The second actually doesn't go his way, and Lol and Angel just combine to turn it into a 2 versus 1. Dia alone.
Up against 2, is he going to expect player towards Optimus or not? Again, trying to gather information, trying to force him into a rough spot, even expecting the flank from Bank. But like HELLRAISERS keeping that composure. D has so many angles to check, and eventually he's just going to run, look in the wrong direction. And HELLRAISERS will get back to tying things up here. And, you know, he talked about, you know, confidence out of Minis. What about Diha? I mean, he pushed out Monster by himself at the B site, took down one player over towards short from that. I feel like his confidence as well can really determine how these matches do go, especially if they keep going towards that B site where he's been able to really put that foot down.
Yeah, I think that is the benefit of younger players just in general, is that most of the time if they get into like a decent team, they're just going to be like, oh, I'm sick. I must be amazing if I'm playing for this team, so let's give it a go. Also, they don't have the pressures of life.
That's true.
Here we go. Angel. Looked like he got the kill, but it was actually Lol, just standing a few seconds behind him. Molotov going to go down onto the site. Dia. There, and actually Oscar going to go for a push onto A, maybe trying to get it on a late flank, maybe expecting more of a rotation to have come in by now. It's probably a little bit more wary about taking some of those battles through the smoke, because he hasn't been winning a lot of them. I remember him getting a couple of kills when they actually pushed through Monster. Other than that, I can't think of him even getting a single frag.
Maybe HELLRAISERS here have sold a little bit of a fake, slowing the pace down quite a bit. They do have the utility to go for the retake. And with the early kill they got on the mouse, they're able to force out a lot of utility out of the CT side here. Moralen currently over towards the A side, not going to be able to help with the incendiary grenade. Actually, the only players with utility besides Diha is over towards A. And speaking of Diha, he's actually going to push it through the smoke in towards Monster. Gets the first, and he catches Angel throwing a grenade, takes out a double. He might have just actually been able to save the round here for the CT side. 15 seconds left to go, and the last two players for the T side are going to push up, and there's still going to be Taz waiting on site.
This just became almost impossible. Lol has to get this kill so fast, and it's not happening. Doesn't have enough time, and Maniz will even rotate in.
How does that work? How do you
have the stones to make that sort of play?
How do you sit with stones that big?
Yeah, he's got a special chair that actually goes down.
So we're actually talking about that, right? With the desk here, instead of putting people on boxes, let's just dig a hole for someone to stand in. Dig a hole for you. Yeah, that's. I mean, you saw like that was just totally unexpected to push through the smoke as it was fading with the time remaining as well. That just saved the round here for them.
I think the only other place there's going to be a hole is in the desk where Issa's currently sitting, because the amount of times he's now just been pushed and lost the duel must be infuriating.
For HELLRAISERS, they kind of keep their emotions in check, because they've already been able to fight back to 2-2. They're able to take it back to a 4-4. Maybe a 5-5's back in the cards here. However, I would imagine not likely with just the pistols and utility.
Yeah, the thing is for HELLRAISERS, I think 6-7 rounds on the T side, they'll be okay with that, in all honesty. And like, from the T side we saw in the previous map from Aristocracy, I wasn't that impressed. Like, a lot of it just came down to very A-centric plays. Maybe they'll have a deeper playbook here. The Pistol's just doing all the work. That's actually an AWP into the hands of Nuclear. There's nobody coming around on the flank, so he'll be able to get the bomb down without any real response just yet. Now, his teammate doesn't actually have a weapon other than the Deeg. They do both have Kevlar as well, and you can see that Nuke's actually already fallen back. He's into a passive position, going to try and utilize the smoke, another to his name, and now it is left all onto Mel. Somehow this round has quickly swung into the favor of Hellraisers. LOL. He's going to get killed for that. And actually, it's an AWP on the other side. This is just going to be the defuse or miss shot as well, and that's worked out for Mouse. Oh, LOL's just got egg on his face at the moment. You got no words, have you?
What?
I would love to just be able to show everyone the disappointment on your face.
I want to see the disappointment on Lowell's face.
Yeah, that's true.
That just cost him the round. I mean, I guess you want to show he had big stones as well, but that did not work out for him, and Mouse clutches the round out in a situation he certainly should have not been able to. Oh my.
Well, looking like we're about to have our scoreline equalized. Instead, the lead goes back to Aristocracy. Oh, I knew I was going to get there eventually and muck it up. The Aristocats. There we go.
You did so well for so long.
Yeah. I knew I'd mess it up at some point today, but...
It is a very hard name to say for some reason.
And I feel like now that I've messed it up, I'm just going to avoid saying it for the rest.
Well, I think I said the CT side earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wait a minute, how do I say their name again? Either way, though, Hellraisers, again, back on pistols. Oscar still has the op from last round, though. And Oscar's going to be over towards the long position, looking for anyone boosting up behind that APC.
He's currently got APC. 1 kill. He was the best player in the server in the previous map. Doubled it up, just as I said it. Does have the AWP in his hands once again. Taz also on 1 kill. So maybe we'll see a step up from him as well. Rarlan in a good position, but Angel's actually going to be able to push him down. They're looking to do more again with these pistols than they ever should be able to achieve. Taz round in the corner. There is the kill. And it is just going to be the trade back. Oscar with the AWP this time. LOL not going for a knife kill onto the guy defusing the bomb, because there isn't anyone defusing it yet. The problem is they have a Deagle and an AWP to try and stop this defusal. It's going to happen again.
I didn't hear it.
It's definitely going to happen again. It's 2 rounds in a row, and this time Aristocracy actually kill off the remaining players as well. I was very proud of myself for getting it right that time.
They didn't have anyone close enough to even hear the defuse coming through. That's the worst part. They had no idea that the round was just slipping out of their hands. And considering in 2 rounds in a row, they got so much accomplished with just so little. They got 2 bomb plants down. They got the CT side down to a couple of players, down to 2 that round, 1 prior. Aristocracy getting very, very lucky, I feel like, in some of these rounds because of some misplays out of Hellraisers.
A chance for Maniz. A second chance, even. Don't think Angel be willing to give him a third. Instead, they're actually going to take some control over in towards long. Not really a position that's been too well covered by Aristocracy so far. Maniz actually with a missed shot, but he is going to be able to fall back, so not so much of a problem for the CT side just yet. Fact is, though, the T's still able to gain quite a lot of map control quite early on, and I think moving players out of this position early in the game is very useful just for your rotations, because you're not going to be punished so much if you go through the connector. Connector control has been something that the CTs have pretty much given up all the way through.
Except that 1 round, Maniz played up close and then got really frustrated when his tote was spotted. But that's definitely a good point. I mean, they've pushed aggressively for a couple of peaks, but then since then, or besides that, you're definitely right. There's been really no aggression even towards short. There's been pretty much just free reign given over to Hellraisers, which we've seen Angel take advantage of in multiple rounds. Looks like the hit's going to come in towards B here. Oh, God, why is Angel so good at entry frag on this B site? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, are they going to expect the man in the back lines? They will eventually, but it's already going to be the trade, and Rarlan is still lurking. 15 HP, he can't really afford to make a move here. If he's spotted out, he will be dead within seconds. But he may just be that little bit of a surprise. Issa, however, Not surprised at all. Already picks off one. The second shot is ridiculous onto Taz. Now Maniz left to try and clutch 1 versus 2. Lowell just holding onto the angle. Will already get all of the information as well. It's going to be another attempted sneak defuse. He has a kit, but it's not going to happen this time. There's no smoke, and they have rifles.
I think I would have punched you if that worked out.
Why me?
Just because you're the nearest person to me. I'm not going to punch these lovely monitors. Or the desk.
Yeah, I suppose.
It'd be a little love punch. Right in the boob.
Don't think there's such thing. I think that's called domestic abuse.
You just gave away our partnership. 7-5 now, though. HELLRAISERS is finally able to get around. Much needed back on the board. Again, a Mac 10 for Angel. We're going to see a push-up for Aristocracy. And actually, that's smoking to help them out quite a bit as well. Able to get a lot of ground cover. The problem is they're not able to get the damage done. They're not able to get the kills they need. It looks like this aggressive push is just not going to work out for that CT side. Taz can maybe get one. But I wouldn't imagine much more than that.
Yeah, they're waiting for him as well. It was one of those positions where they basically had to do it as a group, where they could sort of trade frags and do some damage. Once they get picked apart, pretty much becomes impossible. Nice shot from Mouse at least. But the fact is, this is where HELLRAISERS sort of hit the threshold. This is the amount of rounds they would need, I would say, going forward. Anything too much more than this, like they get back to 7-8 rounds, and Aristocracy are in a bit of trouble going into what will be their T side, especially as it is one of those maps again where if the CT economy gets built up, it's very easy to get bogged down.
Oh my god.
Issa and Monster have just been cursed. Like, he has been wrecked pretty much every time he's taken a peek through there.
Let me ask you something, because I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and I think the bird in your birthday party was what sparked it. I remember in 1.6, Train Alley. If you played close enough to Alley, you would hear like a bird chirping to know that there's someone there. Like there was actually a sound cue whenever there was someone there.
I think it was if you walked past.
Is there any sound cues like that in CS? Go. I don't remember. I don't think there is.
No, I think they're all just random.
That's a shame.
Like you have the bomb sight on train makes a noise, but it's just a noise, and then there's the. Well, I think wasn't it the. Was there something on Inferno as well? Like the dog now is just.
Right.
It's not timed. It's just a noise. But
right.
I think wasn't before it was timed.
I think the dog actually. No, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Sponge would know that.
But yeah, at least nowadays it's just a noise.
Okay, well, HELLRAISERS again getting back on the board here.
We can just take mid again. There you go. We already know what they're going to do.
That's why I love when teams speak English. Like, you know, living in Europe for us, you Ukraine, me in Germany, it's kind of frustrating when you cast teams that don't speak English to each other, but it's nice to hear it, because now we know the game plan of HELLRAISERS, and we're going to see the CT side try to contest it a little bit here. Actually, instead, they're actually going to go towards the connector, which we've not seen done too often.
Yeah, this is one of those rounds where, again, they don't really have the money. Mao's, at least, he's been one of the top performers so far this map and has a rifle in his hands. SG out for Angel as well. And although Oscar's been quiet, he at least had the sort of one high-impact round, which they managed to steal away. Dia again. This guy really is talented, but can they actually make anything of this round? They might be able to overwhelm Lao, which will get them an AK-47, or I should say another one. UK now tagged down to just 10 HP, and Jason's losing his mind.
What is with these two teams and just having pistols only and doing some serious work with it? I don't get it. HELLRAISERS did 2 rounds in a row. Now Aristocracy might be able to do it here with a man advantage and 3 AKs. And Oscar's, well, he gets a little bit lucky here too, considering he's by himself with the bomb, with an AWP. He could have easily be overrun.
I don't like this. I really don't like this. And that's why I don't like it. I think at that point, you just have to go towards one of the sites. There's 30 seconds left. You lose this duel, this happens. Issa's now left in an impossible scenario where he has to try and win a 1 versus 3 with 20 seconds to get towards the site. And he doesn't know where the remaining players even are, so he just has to save. I kind of get why. Like, I think that was the moment where Oscar thought, okay, if there's one player there, I get this kill, we can go B. And he can meet up with Issa. Instead, well, mistakes were made, and the round ends because of it.
Well, they knew there was one playground. Or sorry, yeah, no, they knew there was one birthday party because the player who went into connector got shot in the back.
That's true.
And then he pushed in connector off that pick to the AK. So he knew there was at least one player in connector. And then he spotted one from playground going to T spawn. He didn't know where the third was, but I'm kind of with you. Like if Issa pushed B and he pushed towards A and they met somewhere, either at A or B, that could have been a plant and an after plant situation. But again, I mean, we have the ability to see the entire minimap, so we know exactly what's happening at all times.
And we can focus on remembering stuff that happened rather than what's coming up.
True.
Either way, T-side are still going to have themselves a bye going forward. Oscar will get the AWP in once again. Definitely hasn't been great for him, but I think going into the CT side, you can expect a lot more. Nuke's going to be heard, and Marlon is waiting around the corner. Doesn't actually check the angle properly, and because of that, should be losing the duel, but somehow actually comes out on top. Short-lived.
Actually surprised to see him just kind of rush towards long A. I mean, I was surprised to see him win that trade when he shouldn't have really been able to at all against Rollin, but to just kind of do that, expecting no one to be watching towards long, which to be fair, no one really has. And the positions they have been holding towards toilets have been just a little bit aggressively out of sound range of someone rushing up towards long anyways. So it was technically a good read. And here we go, 45 seconds left remaining. All players setting up, it looks like for a push towards A. Taz going to be waiting in sight. Beneath there as well with the AWP. 30 seconds left, and it's going to be go time here any moment now.
Yeah, they're going to have to hit their shots as well. In terms of retake material, their utility is pretty much null and void. Taz playing the close angle. Maniz will be able to get one. The second comes in for Taz as well. As now it starts to be bogged down for the T's. Maniz will be there to end things. Sat there frustrated. Like, it's not really that much of a problem. Like, sure, it's not really the best game. Ooh, HELLRAISERS have changed their roster a bit. But, yeah. We just got to see their stats twice, though, so it's fine. But we are going to be seeing whether or not he's going to be stepping up. Not a bad start. Gets the first kill of the round, but he is going to be traded out, as now it's left all on to Lowell on the site. He needs to at least get a kill here, and that's not the way you want to go about it, especially not versus Dia as well. He's not been missing a trick in this game so far. Rotation will come in. Kit not available onto any of the remaining players at least.
Oh my god. Oh, that wasn't even Angel, that was Oscar. Oh, okay, never mind. That wasn't as great then. Oscar looking to push in though. Nuke off to his side. Down to a 1 versus 2. He's got a lot of damage done. He's got the Glock picked up now. Doesn't seem to matter. Is Aristocracy able to take the pistol round? A very important pistol round for them as well. They're now up 10-6.
Yeah, going forward, they can now look to build back into this match. And the problem is, like, getting those pistols under your belt, getting the strong start into the map is always going to be super beneficial, especially when you're already in the lead on that second half. HELLRAISERS going to go for the force buy here. Understandable on the CT side. However, if they do lose it, it's going to be at least 12 rounds on the board before they're able to get another purchase in. And that, with a 6-round advantage, will leave the Polish side with a fairly hefty advantage here.
Tom, it's pistols. Remember what they did on T-side with pistols? I think they're more inclined to win this round now. They have pistols bought up here and some armor.
I want to rely on the rifles, all right? I believe.
Here we go. Let's see, really passive play on the T side now. Aristocracy sitting super far back, and the thing is, it's a lot of time already taken off the clock, so for them to retake the positions, that's going to take even more time, considering they didn't clear them out earlier on. So when they actually do go for the execute over towards the A side, if that's the direction they're going to go, they're not going to have much time left on the board here.
50 seconds left. Maybe expecting some aggression to be coming out from the CT side. Oscar waiting on the angle. Tag hit will soften up the players from UK. Is just around the corner. Has to be careful though, as there is a man shoulder peeking a little bit further back, but instead the second tag hit at the perfect time from Oscar, as it will now be the double up. My belief has started to dwindle a little bit now, as 2 players already lost for the T side. 30 seconds on the clock as they go pushing towards Nuke, who he has himself An AK-47. Nade's going to be raining out. Angel already spotting the push coming in. The information gathered, and he's more of the bait. They're going to be looking to try and round the corner, and it's just left in UK. That AK just stepping up as he gets the ace. Every single player killed. He definitely got a lot of help along the way, but either way, he gets the damage done.
So remember about like 40 seconds ago when I said Hellraisers have pistols?
What you don't realize is I actually am just super biased and really want Hellraisers to win.
Hey, at least you're honest. I'll give you that. No, that was really well played by Nuke there, too. I mean, to hit those shots, especially on a Rollin jumping out and then get the spray down on a Mouse. Really well done by this, again, young player, newer player coming to the team.
Bear in mind, the headshot that he hits on the flying player is also the only player that had full HP when he shot them. So everybody else had taken damage from a scout. I think Oscar actually tags 3 players in that round. So it's worth giving some credit over to him.
He's tired of getting tags. He wants frags. Takes down minis there.
And it's UK to help him out now. With a nice little
Teamwork
flashbang.
makes the dream work.
Starts to take a little bit of damage himself. So UK will go back to padding those stats. Oscar chimes in with another, and Taz is just hoping that he can finally connect one of these shots. UK now 8 kills in 2 rounds. Not bad.
Can't complain about that, especially when he's starting to really step up here on the CT side. And I wonder if he can continue this pace. You know, Issa, we talked about being maybe a little bit frustrated on T side, especially hitting towards Monster with the amount of rounds that he just got aggressed on while not being ready or missing the actual aim battles up against them. But it seems like he's been able to step up and get 20 frags. No one, only one other person's crossed the 10-point line, and that's Angel at 11. And a lot of those
came... though, 2 rounds ago, he was only 1 kill above them.
Shh. No one needs to know that.
Oh, he's got a chance to get even more. This time an AWP onto Oscar. UK just waiting around the corner. He's going to be expected, though. It's actually only going to be the one and done. Nice shot from Oscar with the USP. Clearly feeling more comfortable with that weapon at the moment than his AWP, as he'll get a couple of kills with the pistol. Dia. Oh.
And just like, stop it. I want some. Leave some for me. They're looking happy, though. They're looking confident. I think that's where, again, like for a lot of the younger players coming to these rosters, like Diha, like Nuke, like if they get happy, if they get in the zone, I think that's where they start to really become unstoppable. That confidence can really be key when it comes to playing against such experienced players. The only problem is if that becomes the catalyst to make you play well every time, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's definitely a probable cause. Like, you want to have that as like a good, like a high, but then you don't have it in the other sort of sense of the low. Yeah. You want to have a sort of ground where you go, okay, it's not the best game, but I can still bring myself back from it. I do think that that's where like having someone like Taz can be very beneficial, because even though he's not going to be your mad fragger, he's definitely someone who can pick you up out of like a slump or a pit in a game, for example, where he might get an important couple of kills and definitely help bring you up. And I think they might need that a little bit here. The last few rounds have been fairly dominant out from the Hellraisers. They've started to build up a bit of cash, at least on some of the players. UK, well, this is just the confidence we're talking about. Just holding aggressive. Taz going to go peeking in, though. And there's that sort of impact kill that you need.
The thing is, we've seen Hellraisers be more aggressive towards the A site and held more off angles than we saw Aristocracy do on the CT side. At the moment, though, you can see a little bit of a push-up out of Lowell, so he's able to actually spot them not going towards the B position, allowing the rotates to come through. And Oscar again playing aggressive. Look at that. Gets a nice little two-piece there. That's all on Rollin, wondering where his teammates went. 1 versus 3, and Hellraiser's looking for the tie at 10 apiece. Oh my gosh.
Nice shot at least to get Oscar, but he's got to be careful. Lowell is right behind him. Actually doesn't spot him crossing over, so there's actually a chance for him here. It's all going to come down to timing. You can see that Lowell's a little bit skeptical. I think the timing might... Oh, it's both players just ringing around, and there we go. Eventually, Lowell will be there to peek in. He should be able to retrieve the AWP as well, which has started to have its impact, and that's the... It is almost the plug and play, exactly what I was speaking about with Woxic. Like, that is his spot. You've put Oscar in the same spot. He's doing some of the same things. Hellraisers are happy.
Can't be too happy just yet. They still have yet to close this one out, and it's not like tomorrow the matches get any easier for them.
Nope.
If you guys didn't watch the match earlier on, I won't spoil it, but we did have Fnatic playing up against Optic in a best of 3. Definitely a match you want to check out. Diha looking to push up here. I think he's been more impactful on the CT side. I mean, he's 100% been more impactful on the CT side, at least on Overpass. But they're not really able to utilize him. I'm trying to think back to maybe T side on Vertigo as well, how impactful he was.
Roland again seems to be able to get himself into these clutch situations quite regularly. Fortunately, none of them have been successful. It's the deadly duo rotating it at the end to close things out. And Angel with a triple of his own. Again, we talk about the fragging in-game leaders. We had Issa at least in the early aggressive position, able to slow down the push. And Angel there to close it out. Another round on the board, lead taken as well by HELLRAISERS. And this is where things get difficult, because going into this half, we had a 10-6 scoreline after winning the pistol for Aristocracy. And then you see the sort of Force Spy win, and everything fell a little bit flat.
It's like they haven't had that like standout play on the T side just yet.
No.
Like we could think of Diha on CT side holding Monster, like just the ridiculous pushes he would do out of nowhere. Then right now we can look at Oscar and Nuke and how well they've been able to play towards the bathrooms, and yet Aristocracy seem to continue to hit this A site time and time again. We haven't really seen them mix things up to go towards the B site with the proper buy-up. And I wonder if this is going to spell their demise, just almost the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over again, and results not changing.
No,
oh, that's
going to be the third as well. Oscar just wiping down this T offense like it's absolutely nothing. Rallen, he seems to be the last player in every single time, just trying to clean up the mess that was made, but losing 91 HP, he was never going to win that fight. And wow, 12 and 10, HELLRAISERS starting to make things look a little bit easier. And I quite like the way that they're actually using Angel at the moment. Like, they've had him in a pure rotation role. Bear in mind, so when this play is happening, he's firmly on A supporting. Last round, when the push came in, firmly on B. So he has just been playing a rotational role where if something happens in the early round, he is then placed as that third defender, no matter where the push is coming in.
You know, looking at Aristocracy and how they've played this series so far, even looking at Vertigo, even though it's a newer map of the pool, and they've only played it technically now 3 times, I believe, it seems like their T side falls a little flat, falls a little undimensional. Yep. They had that A side they wanted to hit over and over and over again. They hit B twice out of the first 15 rounds on the T, or the only 15 rounds they played on the T side. And then looking here on Overpass, they've just been all about A, all about A. The only times they've gone B was, I believe, Pistol and in like a pistol buy-up. Yeah. Like not an actual full economy pushing in with guns. And I wonder if that's just kind of like their T side just being flat in general at the moment, or maybe it's just these 2 maps, but I feel like it's the former of those 2 options.
Well, yeah, I think just the problem as well is this map allows for rotations, like heavily. Like, you've got a very quick switch up from A to B if things aren't working out, like if you lose that opening pick. And the thing is, because they're not utilizing that, Angel is able to do what I was saying in the last round. Like, whenever the early fights come in, he is in the right place at the right time. So any spot comes out, he can rotate. Now, if you're a team that is using the rotations well enough, you can punish for that. If you're not, then they're going to have 3 players on the right side every single time. And that's actually my bigger problem. It's not necessarily that the T side is flat. I suppose this is part of it. But it's just the fact that if they're going A at the beginning of the round, they go A. Like, right. I haven't seen them use the connector
the mid-round calls.
Yeah. It's just been, oh, okay, we've said we're going A, so we got to keep pushing. And like, for example, now, they've already lost a player. They've already taken a lot of damage. They seem so set on this site. There's already smokes down to deny them. There's rotations in from Angel as well. They're set up very well for this sort of push to come in. And they're just going to try and brute force their way into the site.
Okay, so bear with me on this, Tom, because I'm curious. Maybe, because you have Taz as such an influential player in terms of like the experience he has, being an in-game leader. Maybe it's too much. Maybe because of the way the team's been led by him, they feel like they have to play cookie cutter, very strict to like the strats that are called, right? There's no mid-round calls happening, really. There's no improvisation, it seems, out of players. It's just, all right, well, Taz said, let's go A, so we're going to go A until we're all dead or we win the round. They're not really switching things up, and maybe, you know, for the younger players, like that kind of strict structure is actually punishing that natural ability they can have as a player.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Like I think on the CT side, it seemed like they had a lot more freedom, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, D-Hub pushed Monster just randomly, and it worked out majority of the time for him. And now it's just, all right, well, they lost to player B. They're a little bit more spread out this time, but they still have a big commitment towards the B site. D-Hub's going to be able to pick up at least one onto low in towards Toxic, but I definitely want to see more mid-game calls, and I feel like that's the way Counter-Strike has gone in general with the heavy utility usage and the importance of utility. Meantime, Mao's going to push up by himself, gets one and two.
So close to UK actually being able to trade 2 of those kills back. Now he's still going to go spotting into mid. The CT side economy is actually fairly decent, so he may not be going to try and win the round, but he is going to at least try and do some damage. Look how low the remaining players are. 39 HP is the max. He's actually fairly close to being able to win this round. In fact, he has more HP than all of his opponents combined. He's going to be making just that way in towards Monster. Now, considering where he was spotted previously, it's still possible that he went here. He just went the very long way around. So I doubt that they're going to be exiting in this direction. You can see they are just going to be going back the other way. Maybe hoping that he can retrieve an AWP. Issa did drop one on this B site. They're actually just going to hold on to the AK. They can afford one anyway, and this is a gun he can't get on the other side.
I think you're seeing the toll it's taken on Taz too, looking very exhausted so far from this series. I mean, we're only on our second map. We technically could go the third if they're able to fight back here on Overpass. Well, it's definitely a tough one here, and again, it seemed like they went for a little bit something different. They went towards B with guns. They like boosted D-Hub to let D-Hub do D-Hub things. Mao's able to get a nice little 2-piece on the entry in towards B as well. They're seeming to, it seems like when they play with a little bit more freedom and a little bit more lax in their play style as a team, they seem to do better. And I don't know if I'm just kind of overanalyzing the situation. I could be completely off base and completely wrong. But I wonder if it's just more of like a looser style that would work better. And I feel like I'm trying to think back to Virtus Pro Days when it was original VP. Were they super strict in their calls and super strict in their play style, or were they more fluid? And I feel like, again, they were a little bit more strict, a little bit more stiff compared to,
I think it depends who was in-game leading.
That's true. It seemed to change every week.
Yeah. So, yeah, I imagine when it was Snacks, it was a bit more of a fluid sort of gameplay. But I think that's why they kept changing things, is because they needed to. Oh, T-side. Got to buy wrong, and actually doesn't have any head armor. So, yeah, it's quite a bit of extra money, but a bullet to the face from any gun on the other side will put him to the ground. Which is definitely not ideal. We can see the slower style thrown in once again. But that was actually, I think, the first proper Byron we've seen going towards the B site. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do try and go in that direction once again.
Yeah, again, it's just like, it's not like they're pushing out towards Playground to just maybe just show themselves, maybe not die, maybe not get a kill, but just kind of have that presence in general. But they're playing so constricted, so close together, which is obviously good for refrags, but you can't sell a fake. You can't gather information. They have no idea where HELLRAISERS is playing in towards the A side. They could be pushed up behind them. They could be technically flanking them now. They're going to go for the big execute towards B. Angel, that was a little bit too easy for them, as Issa's going to fall, but will they expect the second player to be there?
Oh, Law with a lot to do, and he isn't going to be able to achieve it this time. Rotation a little bit far behind, as it will be Nuclear going all the way through the spawn. Now they know that Oscar's here. He's going to throw the Molotov down just to deny the plant, at least for now. And that's actually perfect, because Nuclear's initial flank was nowhere near on time. Like, the bomb would have been easily planted. Nice snap from Oscar. He's still just causing a big distraction. Rarlan has spotted out Nuclear at least. A Molotov going over could be enough to stop Oscar pushing in. He doesn't have the HP to run through it, so he can't take the risk. And now Rarlan's actually flanking the flanker. So Nuclear, unless he spins around at the right time, is going to be lost here. Rarlan very low on health and actually misses the shots. That's the opportunity he needed. Meniz knows he has to try and go aggressive here, as round the corner comes his opponent, goes for the spray, and Nuclear wins it again. It's been a massive map from him as he nets the 14th round for HELLRAISERS.
I feel like Rollins transitioning, once Oscar got that first kill, that nice little flick towards short, if he held his position, he would have seen Nuke flanking in, and I don't think Nuke would have had a chance to see him in that position. He would have been able to get the really easy kill. But then again, right there, flanking behind him, he had the easy opportunity to get the kill onto him and to deny a round back towards HELLRAISERS. And they're getting ever so close to closing this out in a 2-0 fashion. 14-11 now. Nuke at 28 frags, Angel at 21. On the other side, Mouse at 20. And it's really becoming do or die time here for this T side.
Yeah, luckily they still have loss bonus going. They do have minis waiting this time as well. And he will be able to find Oscar. And the same boost actually thrown in before will catch out Lowell again. So just some of the more basic things working for Aristocracy on this T side. Now, Issa alongside Angel are going to have an awful lot to do. Still 2 players on this site that they need to clear out, but going to need an absolute hero play, and unfortunately Issa's angle not quite enough to cover off his teammates, so both will be lost. Nuke just going to try and save the AWP, and it didn't last long.
Okay, so again, they go to more of a spread out style. Minis gets a double with AWP over towards A. They go for the boost again, so they get aggressive in their passive style, and it works out.
Yeah, I think it's more like the gimmicky stuff that actually working for them. Just leave him lurking with an AWP.
True.
Like Minis on entries hasn't been like that impactful, I would say. So have the 4-man push, disable any sort of flank, then you don't have to focus on any other angles. And yeah, this B site's starting to look a little bit weaker.
I mean, that's the downside of what we're talking about of like mid-game calls and mid-game rotations, mid-round rotations, I should say, is that when you don't have anyone spotting a potential push from A towards T spawn, because they don't have anyone just watch that angle, that position on the map, they can't really make those transitions easily because he's not able to push up towards towards birthday party and clear connector for him. They're not able to transition into another play. They're fully committed. And again, they're pretty much fully committed towards the B side another time, as they're just going to rush straight through, and they're up against the majority of the players here on the side of HELLRAISERS, but they only have pistols.
Yeah, even still, they're doing a lot of damage. It's whether or not they can actually finish off too many players, and the answer swiftly answered. It will be UK just trying to hold for any sort of exit. They don't know where he is. At the same time, not really a reason for them to push that far.
Yeah, so Aristocracy able to take it to 13 now, up against the 14 of HELLRAISERS. They're still hanging on by the skin of their teeth here, Tom, but it's still a very close match between the two, and the last 2 rounds they did get, I think, were mostly because HELLRAISERS didn't really have the weaponry to fight. Also, they got picked off from the same position multiple times in a row. Oh my gosh.
14-13. It's going to come down to the wire once again. Nepal's definitely looking to bring this back and take it onto a 3rd map, which moments ago didn't really look too possible. Now the buy coming in from HELLRAISERS isn't ideal. Nuke not going to have his trusty M4 in hand. Oscar will have an AWP, but even utility has been dwindled away, and we are going to see a bit more of a standard hold coming out. Finally some connector control actually from the T side as well, which is not something we've seen too often, but again, it will just result in a burst. Surely this can't work for a 3rd time.
I was really hoping it would, just to face palm. You would physically be able to hear it on stream. Actually, they're going to be the ones boosting up. Diha, did he not?
Oh, just the spray through. Nothing Angel can really do about that. And CT side already diminished in numbers, utility. Don't even have a kit. They're in a pretty bad state in this round already, and there's still a minute left on the clock.
Living that 4x3 lifestyle. Oh, this time Rollins gonna take the brunt of the damage. He's like, guys, I was just boosting him. Come on, chill. Shoot him, not me. Lowell's gonna look for a push in towards Monster. Issa gets a much needed kill into Rollins to help equalize things, and Mouse as well takes a ton of damage here off that spray. Again, they still have a little bit of connector control, but they're basically committed to this B push. 37 seconds left. There's no chance for them to rotate back towards A unless they all barreled through connector. And there's a 3-man stack over towards the B side with a quick rotate out of Oscar. This is not looking good here for the T side. Aristocracy is going to struggle.
Well placed, but again, doesn't expect the 2nd player. Nuclear at least will be able to trade things back and turn it into the 1 versus 2, and Oscar comfortably closes the round. And yeah, again, it's... I would say it is the problems of just not having any sort of rotations or map control. Like, I get that they get the early man advantage, but then they sort of just wait around. And it was more just spam through walls and eventual equalization. And they don't really put that much pressure on HELLRAISERS. They just sort of chill. And if there had been somebody lurking, like, you see a lot of teams that maybe have one man just wandering around the rest of the map. They could have found out that the A side was completely clear. And I feel like they're almost diminishing their own game by just not getting the right amount of information. Like,
yeah.
Even if you're not playing aggressively into like pushing over towards that A site, the fact that no one was spotted from the CT side allows them to go for these gambles.
And it's not like they're really baiting in much utility on the side of HELLRAISERS either. I mean,
No.
again, you could push towards A, spread out a little bit more, bait in some smokes, bait in some flashes. I mean, they did delay the push there technically after they got the first frag, which they eventually got turned around on to be 4-4 apiece. But there was still a lot of utility left for HELLRAISERS from the players who were towards A, who rotated back towards the B site. But Tom, we're now potentially into the final round here. Round number 29. HELLRAISERS need one more to close this out, and they get a nice little quick 2-0 sweep.
Even still, though, the money for HELLRAISERS is not in a good state. If there was actually a victory in this round, I think OT should be on the cards, although I say should because of the power of the pistols. OT's this time just going to be gathering up outside the B site. The faster plays from them definitely seem more successful. They don't allow for the rotations to come in from the remaining HELLRAISERS players. Angel's just going to be scoping down, looking to try and pop some heads, does a lot of damage, and eventually closes one. And this time Lowell has managed to survive on the barrels. He's been punished so many times before, but this push onto the site is completely